exact?
There is a need to look at the new technologies that are evolving, whether it's contactless or blockchain or artificial intelligence. CeBIH will be critical in educating customers, right? And making sure that customers are well educated around not just the opportunities and the potential, but also the risks.
Come January 2025, we will also be training senior leadership in AI, and that is a major one for CeBIH. We have an academy, and that academy has been training a lot of people from various institutions, from fintechs to organizations, and there's also some partnership that we are going in with CIBN just to improve the level of fortify the certificates that we have.
So artificial intelligence in itself has come to stay. We are going to see more as it plays into the Internet of Things. We are going to see more as it plays into the role of smart cities.
Artificial intelligence is something that will totally transform life generally, but more particularly the payment system.
So these are some of the things we're seeing that we believe will drive innovation over the next couple of quarters. We have to think in quarters now because things are happening every now and then.
At the forefront of Nigeria and Africa's digital revolution is CeBIH. Their unwavering commitments to innovations and collaboration has paved the way for more inclusive and efficient financial system among banks and across Africa.
CeBIH is at the forefront of collaboration between the financial institutions and the fintech players.
And CeBIH has been the platform that the banks have used in driving collaboration and cross-enterprise alliances.
CeBIH couldn't have done it alone. Even within the industry, there are other associations that they have to collaborate with, because all they can do is to come up with ideas. But there are others who will have to put technology behind the ideas to make it succeed.
And I think, especially for the Nigerian financial ecosystem, collaboration will continue to be at the heart of it. All that matters is our customers, our joint customers, want service. They really are not mindful about the color or the logo providing it. They just want excellent service.
There is a lot in that power of collaboration. And I think some of the things CeBIH does is already driving that collaboration, which is one of the things why we, associate with CeBIH, and that association allows opinions and people's voices, operators' voices to be heard at that level in terms of what is expected in the industry.
We need to see more banks partnering with fintechs, even the fintechs that are doing they are very similar competitors to banks. There is still that need for partnership.
And I must give it to the Central Bank of Nigeria. They have really promoted interoperability, partnership, and collaboration among members. Because CeBIH also tried, CeBIH did a fantastic job because for a very long time, CeBIH was the soundboard to the Central Bank, giving ideas, initiative about how we think this can happen.
From the Asian border system to the future of digital currencies, the evolution of payment has been fascinating. As technology advances, we can expect even more groundbreaking innovations that will shape the future of finance.
One initiative that we have done recently, which we are going to launch at the 2024 Annual Conference, is smart and intelligent websites. We have revamped that website to the extent that there are some features there, but the one that jumps at me properly is the fraud management arm of it. Whenever you are defrauded, we are not saying that CeBIH is not a bank or a fraud management solution. No. What we are saying is that to also support all the things that your banks have done, you can come to that website and report the fraud. The site is very intelligent and smart to take that information and go and act on it.
There is something for everyone, right? And we are trying to make payments simpler. I think part of what we'll be looking out for going forward is the fact that payments will also, there'll be a bit of offline payment as we move forward now. So people can even do payments where there are no broadband connectivity. So I don't think anyone will be left out, but that doesn't say that we shouldn't move forward with the new technologies or the new payment platforms.
This journey is a testament to human ingenuity and innovation. The possibilities are endless as
that tells you why credit card has not been successful in Nigeria. And the relationship between that and consumer behavior and retail transactions that we see, because we always pay with the money that we have. And those who have tried to extend credit in Nigeria also have had their fingers burnt, because debt recovery remains an issue in Nigeria historically, and even to a great degree up to now. We had issues about identity. We don't have credit registry that works. Even when they work for lending, you can be owing your utility service provider and still get credit elsewhere. But let's look at what it means to have a virtual card, as you can see on the telephone handset on the screen, or what it means to use your USSD for transactions, or to use your telephone handset as the point of sale device, or to pay with your phone number. So these experiences will define the future of payments and the future of cards. And talking about use cases, I would like us to look at the experience when we shop online. Next slide. So this is a typical online site, and you have three payment options. One is to pay by transfer, the other is to pay by card, and the other is to pay with your phone number. In the middle, you have pay by card. So you have to enter your card number, you have to enter the expiry date, you have to enter the CVV. And for some sites, you also have to enter the full name. And God help you if you make a mistake in entering the card number, and it's very lengthy. I think it's 16 digits also. But you can see with a phone number, it is your phone number. And we pay by transfer, it's also a different thing. So a week ago, I had a meeting with an executive of one of the big companies in Nigeria, and she shared her personal experience with me. Her sister-in-law was visiting Nigeria, and she had responsibility to buy a ticket for the travel within Nigeria. She went to a site. The site where she found the ticket, she was not comfortable using her card details. But to her pleasant surprise, as she said, she found another payment option, pay by transfer. She did it. She bought the ticket. She didn't have to disclose her card details. Next slide. So when we talk about the future of payments, we must understand the clients that we serve. And that means demography is very important to us. Who are those that we serve? We have the digital aliens, or as some of us are called, sometimes in our presence, at other times when we are not there, ancestors. So you can see the ancestor there. I see that a number of ancestors in the room are smiling and looking at me. But if we want to define the future of payments, then we cannot be building for the demography that is not our target audience or customer. We must be building for the digital natives. And if you look at the population of Nigeria today, 24 years and below constitute 63% of the population. Between age 25 and 54 is another 30. That already gives you 93% of the population. So the question is, are you building for the digital aliens or the ancestors, or you are building for the digital natives? In 20 years from now, you'll be fortunate if you are 54 today and you are still making payments yourself. You will be 74. You may make payments yourself, but certainly you won't be as involved as you are now. In 30 years from now, you are unlikely to be a customer that will be visited by anybody. So, if we have to serve the customers of the future, those who are 24 years and below today, even if they do not make the income today, they spend someone else's money. And we can all admit that the best money to spend is the money made by someone else. So they are already spending. And as they grow, because of the digital habit that they have cultivated or would have cultivated, it follows that they will be looking for solutions that are delivered digitally. But the good news for card is that card does not have to be in the form factor that we know it. It could be a virtual card. You can tokenize. And we have seen different payment schemes. They used to be called card schemes. They don't even refer to themselves as card schemes anymore. And one of the dominant schemes in Africa and in Nigeria for that matter is VED. Please, can we applaud them? It's a domestic brand, and they have grown significantly. But the good news is that the card does not have to be the plastic. You don't have to activate your card because you are given a PIN mailer. And so there will be evolution. So the future of card means that card can be delivered differently from how it was delivered many years ago and how it is substantially delivered today. But to deliver it in the current form and state for the digital natives would be to make a big mistake. So if we have to serve these people, we also have to connect with them where they are. And let's move to the next slide. Let's look at the tele-density in Nigeria. With the enforcement of NIN for telephone subscribers, the tele-density has been on the decline. And understandably so, because there are a number of people that have SIM cards but do not want to be identified as the owners for obvious reasons. So now, we will know the true owners of the SIM cards. But that's not where it ends. Over 10 years ago, the banking industry had to come together and do what our national government should have done. The industry created the bank verification number. It was necessitated by the absence of a national electronically verifiable identity database. And then you can be Yusuf Okafor, Wale in one bank, and be Wale Okafor in another, and be Okafor Wale in a third bank. So identity was a major issue. Fast forward, the National Identity Card Scheme was launched. And we said, yes, we are on a good journey. But the good news today is that the national identity number does not have to be a national ID card. Yet, you can be identified by it. But not only can you be identified by it, you can be verified electronically. So it is possible today, from wherever you are, to verify the identity of somebody who wants to do business with you, or who wants to have whatever relationship with you. And that is not just by searching the person for the person on the internet. If you ask the person for the name, we have different service providers that offer you the opportunity to enter the person's name, and also a code will be sent to that individual will give to you, and will verify the full identity of the person, including the local government, and also the passport photograph. So what is the relationship between that and the future of payments? It means that people can be digitally verified, they can be identified, and they can be enabled. That also means that payments, including cards, have to be delivered digitally. And you can also see on the screen the internet penetration. It continues to be on the increase. The reason why tokenization has not been successful in Nigeria yet is because the majority of telephone handsets in Nigeria, even though we call them smartphones, even though they are internet enabled, they are not NFC enabled. If they were NFC enabled, we do not need to spend the hundreds of billions of naira that we spend every year buying that big box that we call POS device. By the way, when we first launched in unified payments, acceptance of foreign cards in Nigeria, Barclays Bank was enabling acceptance in the whole of Africa for the foreign payment schemes. And there was no acquirer in Nigeria. The machine that was used then was 3 to 4 times even the size of the POS that we use today. And we had what we call the zip-zap machine. The ancestors in the room we know. Fast forward. If you were to give some of the digital native today the telephone handset of the old, that is a box that you put your finger and you roll, they will not know how to use it. They will look at it the same way a 90-year-old uneducated lady in our countryside will look at a smartphone. That is how they will look at that box. That dictates that we also have to evolve and align the services we provide, the payments that we offer, with the community that we serve. And the community we serve is becoming dominantly digital natives and not digital aliens. In conclusion, we'll go to the next slide. These are the payment trends that we see today. On the left of your screen, you can see at the bottom a tokenized card. That means the card schemes, if we choose to continue to call them card schemes, but not plastic schemes, will be here with us forever, because they will continue to evolve, adopt, and adapt. Or You have the QR code offered by the same card schemes, which tells you that what the focus is and should be is payments. It's not the type of technology that is used to deliver it. If you can move the chip from the plastic and put it on the telephone handset that people will go everywhere and anywhere with, then we'll be able to serve them. And that is why, for us in unified payments, we have continued to invest for about 10 years in a future where the equivalent of the card is your telephone handset, and the equivalent of the POS device is also your telephone handset. And that is what gave birth to Pay Attitude and the product whereby you can pay with phone number across every channel. That also means that a tokenized card can be obtained from any bank of your choice, irrespective of the payment scheme, and can also be enabled on a single mobile or payment application that brings different banks and deposit-taking institutions together. That again informed the decision to have a multi-bank app through Pay Attitude. Of interest to us also, as industry operators, is the alternatives that are being offered, and that is pay by transfer. Banks know that cards are growing, transactions with cards have continued to grow, but at a lower rate than pay by transfer. And when we discuss pay by transfer, we are not talking of P2P, we are discussing P2B. So even when individuals pay businesses, they use pay by transfer. Whether they are doing that with a mobile app because they own a smartphone, or they are using USSD that works on different types of handsets, it is becoming also a major future of the payment landscape. The future of cards, therefore, is that cards will remain with us, but it doesn't have to be plastic. And payment is beyond cards. So we need to embrace different options, different technologies that can be delivered digitally, because not a distant future, but the immediate future and the distant future belongs to the digital natives, and those are the people we serve. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. This is great and very impressive. I have no doubt to the fact that your presentation actually gives us food for thought, and then we have to also look at that aspect of how exactly we are going to be well positioned for the future of cards. Thank you very much. Please can you put your hands together one more time for the Group Managing Director, Unified Payment Services Limited, Dr. Agada Kochi, who happens to be one of our sponsors. As a matter of fact, I've been instructed, before we go in quickly to the next panel session, and I'm going to ask for my podium to be moved so that we can coordinate the setup for the panel session. But we have a trivia, and that trivia, ladies and gentlemen, we have to be open only to those on this side of the hall. So we imagine that the people on this side of the hall perhaps will have the answer to the question. And so I'm going to ask my usher, Tolu, take the microphone and go up there quickly, and then let us ask the question. And the first person who raises his or her hand will be the person that will give the right answer. If you don't give the right answer, then we will move to the next person. So ladies and gentlemen, All right, ladies and gentlemen, the question goes to us. Are we ready? Are we ready? All right. When was CB founded? This is going to be... Okay, no shouting. Can I meet this?
No, I'm ready with the mic.
You raised your hand first. Yeah. When was CB founded?
In the year 2008.
2008, okay. Vice Chairman, is that correct? 2008 is the right answer, isn't it? When was CB founded? Even our ancestors. 2008. Okay, please, ladies and gentlemen, can you give a round of applause to that gentleman who had a response? I would like to invite the chairman to transfer this young man's cash prize. He's the first person who is receiving cash prize, and I'm very sure he might do it with Pay Arena. I'm not too sure as the case might be. Or we will have to use some other payment platform. Can I have the chairman's here? Is the chairman here? Or if not, okay. Can I have the winner? Can I have the winner? Where's the winner, please? Oscar, I understand you're the one earmarked for this. Okay, so let's have the winner come up. And as we're getting ready for that, we will get the panel session right away set. And I would like to recognize Madam Celestina Appeal, the Head Card Services Zenith Bank PLC, who is going to be moderating this panel session as she takes her seat. Well, Oscar, you want to coordinate this somewhere here. Can I have another microphone so that we can have this? Tolu, can I have my microphone, please? Thank you. All right, I understand that the winner will see Oscar and then give him his account details, and we're going to be sure about that. Please, madam, you want to have a seat? And I will hand over to you.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Quickly, I'll introduce the panelists. Okay, a group of experts in the topic we're going to talk about today have been put together. We have experts from the cards. Is it card schemes or payments? Payment schemes now. Okay, card stroke payment schemes, as we have learnt now this morning. So first I will call on Vincent Obunodi, the MD of VEV, to join us. Next I will call on another card stroke payment scheme, Afrigo, Ugo Basi, represented by Nena. Then we'll move on to the technology experts. The next person we're going to call is a guru in cards, now a payment technology expert. I call on Kemi Okunsoya, the CEO of Hydrogen Payment Services. As we all know, she was formerly the country head of Visa. So she's in the right place. The last, but not the least, is from a card production and personalization company, the MD of Card Forts Limited, Tunde Aka Bashorum. Thank you very much. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this panel section. And this panel session, as the keynote speaker has mentioned, is themed The Future of Cards. We're in a rapidly evolving landscape where contactless payments, mobile payments, wallets, we all have all sorts of payments coming up now. Even cryptocurrencies are coming up, and they're all gaining momentum. The role of payment cards is under scrutiny. Like the keynote speaker said, it's under serious scrutiny. Today, We have the experts from from card schemes, payments, production, and payment technology sectors to explore the trends, challenges, opportunities shaping the future of this all-important financial tool that has gained ground over the years. At least the cards, they shaped the payment structure because they were the first kind of payments that defined the structure of payments in the world. Okay, so we are going to be looking at from security concerns, environmental impacts. We will also delve into how payment cards are adapting to new changing needs of our consumers and businesses alike. I'd like us to all engage in a thought-provoking discussion that will shed light in the trajectory of payments in the coming years. Okay, so to kickstart, I would like to get the thoughts of our panelists. So, Vincent, what do you see as the current trends shaping the future of payment cards in the financial industry?
All right, thank you. How much time do I have?
No, okay, I need to specify the time. 1 minute.
No, it was a rhetorical question because
just your thought.
Yeah, my thoughts. Okay. First thing I wanted to do is to even respond to the topic because there's a corollary there or inference that cards may be seeing end of its days or may become obsolete. My view is quite different, more controversial. I would say that for me, in the next 3 to 5 years, cards will continue to thrive and cards will continue to be important. The question is how far we wish to gaze into the future, right? And why I say that is for really 3 reasons. One is more philosophical, right? Then the other is the experience I've had and then the trends that we're seeing. And the philosophical part is that there's something called a core concept, which is not a product, which is not an expression. And I'll just give you an example. I had a discussion with someone, a colleague of mine, and he said, or I said that even as digitized as this world has become, we've not been able to phase out paper, right? He also said, even as connected as this world is, we've not been able to phase out storage, portable storage devices. There's something else that we've been trying to phase out for years, and I'm sure 10 years ago, we probably discussed the future of it, which is cash. And cash has remained stubborn, and that is because cash has some qualities of being tangible and intuitive. I'm sure in this room, if I put 5 million naira cash on the floor, a QR code and POS and ATM, and I say it's up for grabs, there'll be a stampede towards the cash, right? Because of what it does. Now, a very close cousin to cash is card. And that's why cards will continue to be that resilient, right? Then, of course, the trends we're seeing, like our dear speaker, Dr. Agada said, we're seeing growth over, in fact, as Verve, we're seeing more growth in recent years than previous years. We started 3 years ago, 35 million cards, moved to 50. This is less than about a year. We're now at 70 million. And it's not just only Verve, the industry as well seems to be growing overall. And because you have new players that previously would not have touched cards with a long pole, and they have now become the biggest issuers, right? So in terms of trends, so that I can get to your point, there are quite a number of things because I would not be a blind advocate and say that indeed you don't see a number of trends today that will affect the proliferation of cards. They are there. What are card or payment schemes doing? There are a few things that we are doing, which is to digitize, obviously. And you have concepts like tokenization, We're embedding cards in mobile apps, mobile phones. You have the concept of QR, and there are quite a number of approaches. Even biometrics is now layered on top of cards.
Thank you very much, Vincent. Vincent is of the opinion that card is something you can relate with, just like cash. People can relate with cash personally. That's thinks card is something you can also relate with. He also talked about the trends. Now I'll move to Kemi. Before I come to the other card scheme. Kemi, we're talking about one of the reasons why people want to move to other forms of payments. They are like the keynote speaker talked about. You don't want to display your card number for security reasons. So what technological advancements do you anticipate to impact the design and security of security features of card payments or payment cards?
So I think it's a very good question. As we look at the card payments into the future, let's even start with the challenges that people have and why they don't even use the cards. So there's always a concern around security. Today, there is the encryption, which is pretty much tokenization. And what that means is that you can actually have a zillion tokens on one card. That means that if you have your card placed on a particular website, it can be completely different from what is placed on another website. So that's one. The second is leveraging behavioral biometrics. So it's not just about biometrics, but behavioral biometrics. So that means that, so for instance, I'll use myself as an example. It's pretty rare that I'll type in a password easily, but the system can actually tell if it is me. If you put in that password and the way you go smoothly, you should be able to say, this is not Kemi. So in reality, leveraging behavioral biometrics will be an advanced way of also helping us to authenticate who is actually making that payment. And another example that comes to mind is just AI. So we use AI for a lot of the risk monitoring. What it means is that we can actually predict better the spend patterns. I'll know that, hey, it's not Kim that is actually making this payment because it doesn't make payment frivolously. So that kind of level can actually also help us. So there's quite a bit in there. We can go on and on. Of course, we have the MFA, which today is more around not just your OTP like we know it, but leveraging the different forms of data points that we have, your IP address, your device, and you can leverage all that to actually authenticate. So there's quite a bit that is in there that can actually protect us, shield us, and actually ensure that the card is more secure to the user. Thank you.
Thank you, Kemi. Yeah, Kemi has emphasized on the different security features we can use to enhance security on payment cards to make it convenient for and more secured for our card holders. So now I move to Nena. We're talking about the rise in digital payment methods. What role do you think payment cards will play in the future? What role will they play in this whole saga of different payment methods coming up? What role do you think they will play in the future?
So to start off, I think I would like to agree with what Vincent said about cards, right? So I've heard there's so many things that we're doing with cards right now, and the future of cards being that cards will shed their physical plastic skin, right? And then move on to embedded finance, being on phones and the like. So yes, that's the future really for cards. So we're going to see a lot of instances where the card is now going to become invisible, right, in the future. So it's going to be part of, you're going to have it on your wearables, even your watches, your ring, your phone, right? You're even going to have a situation where in the future, your fridge is going to tell you that you're out of milk and pay for it on your behalf and then tell you go get the milk, right? So I don't think personally that cards are going away. They're here. They're going to be here for a while. right? And of course, the approach for the cards, the way it's going to be, is going to be digital and digital devices and all of that. But in the future, cards going to be invisible behind everything. When it comes to payments, when it comes to like I mentioned, the wearables and the rings and the like, that's the future for cards. So even in terms of, so we see a situation where even now, even with the future that we predict for cards, we still have to cater to the people that will use the physical cards. So cards are also going to evolve into hospital, agriculture, counter interactions with other aspects of the industry, of the country, right? So you're going to have cards working with this to have identity. You can see the fantastic initiative that NIMSI is coming up with to have EID included into payments, so to speak. It has to happen, it's going to happen. Even with the future that we have where cards are invisible, we're still going to see initiatives such as that will allow for cards to play roles that are just outside payments per se. So you're going to have cards feature in terms of hospital payments, agriculture, right, in whatever form. So whatever the tech whizzes will come up with, you're going to have cards involved in it.
Yeah, interesting. So Inena believes that card is going to be invisible, going to be an invisible tool behind devices, behind other payments forms. It's not going to go away. Rather, it's going to be behind the scene, working from behind the scene, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So it's talking about tokenization, having it on your devices and on your wearables and all that. So, yeah. So, Mr. Tunde Bashorun, Akabashorun, sorry. Now, with all these evolving trends we are talking about in cards, how are card production and personalization companies, how are they preparing for these shifts, to adapt to these shifts?
Thank you. So, when we talk about the future of cards, what I think of is from the various things we've heard, even on this panel and from the MD of Unified Payments. Globally, these changes we're speaking about are happening in real time. Like, for example, the UK, last year, 90% of their transactions were contactless, either via Apple Pay, Google Pay, or Tap and Pay. But we now look locally. Nigeria is more cash and card based. We use a hybrid model here. And if we consider that 45% of Nigerians are banked, and I believe there's still 55% unbanked. Now, if we take in Mr. Aguda's, if we take in his input about the demographics of people who are 18 and under, at 63%, 24 and under, thank you. What that shows us is there's still a massive number of people who are not financially included. So in terms of the future of cards, globally, in the West, in Asia, in North America, there's a shift towards digital for sure, and it's rapid. But speaking as a Nigerian person, as a Nigerian business person, there's still a lot of room for growth that we will see here for a while. So I don't know if we want to project for 10 years or 20 years, but I think in the immediate future, short to medium term, there's still a lot of utilization for cards in Nigeria. Thank you.
So, Mr. Bashorun believes that there's still room for growth in this part of the world. Sincerely speaking, looking at the rate of growth in Nigeria is far faster than what you have in the US. Yeah, so even when you went to EMV, US, they are still far behind. They are still using, magnetic stripe. So I can imagine that. I can imagine that. So you're saying it will still be it still be an in thing for a very long time. Okay, but the question was, how are you preparing? Okay. What do you think? How should you be preparing? Because even if you give it 10 years, okay, 20 years, we've all agreed that there's a shift. So how are you keying into these changes?
Yeah, I can go.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So first of all, the key trends for cards they will evolve.
Yeah.
They will no longer be static tools. They'll be dynamic tools that are more secure, are more personalized to the users, and are even more sustainable. So we're seeing like the industry giants like Visa and MasterCard moving towards like eco-friendly cards. I know through Thales, they've issued about 30 million biodegradable cards so far. And I know that Visa and MasterCard are planning to tokenize all their cards by 2030, 100%. And they also plan to phase out first-use PVC cards by 2028. So already the industry leaders are moving towards the evolution of cards anyway. What we will do is follow and also make sure we're applying the right technology to be in line with those trends. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So, having known your thoughts about the future of cards, let's come back to Vincent. How are card schemes? How are you adapting to the increasing demand for seamless and secure payments experiences in an increasing digital world? I know Kemi spoke about some security features. What are card schemes? What are you doing to adapt to these changes?
All right, thank you. I just wanted to mention, when you were speaking on the leading card scheme, you forgot to mention Verve. Okay. Okay, so I think it's important, and a good number of us understand that cards really, that's the last mile. There's a lot behind that plastic that you see in terms of infrastructure. People have invested billions. In terms of operational knowledge, there's a lot behind it, right? And that's why I think some of these new trends will end up leveraging that network. And that's why we can say we move from plastic to something tokenized, right? And then we can even serve the other trends from biometrics to some other things. Knowing that the last mile payments may change, we definitely need to adapt. And we need to recognize that there'll be differences in the way those transactions are done. For example, for cards today, the security features, paying, CVV, for those kind of transactions, that would go away. There'll be a different kind of authentication, right? We would need to adapt in that regard. We would need to recognize there's even difference in the messaging. And it's interesting that for a while, the story has been, or the message has been, swipe your card, then insert your card. It will move to tap. As a matter of fact, it will soon move to scan. And possibly in the future, it will move to think. Just think of your payment and it will go. But we need to know that even the messaging will change over time. Then even the manner in which those kind of new initiatives or trends leverage the network of cards would also need to be considered. What kind of integration methods, what kind of standards and protocols. So those are some of the things that we would need to adjust, and we're already doing it today for the card schemes or payment schemes.
It's good to know that the card people are already moving ahead with emerging technologies to make card more innovative. So, Nena, I'd like to ask, as digital ecosystems expand, you talked about the ecosystem when you spoke the other time. What steps should the card industry, take to remain integral to broader digital economy initiatives in emerging markets?
All right. So, starting with technology, to the extent that I know, there has to be huge collaboration. What CeBIH is doing right now, forming this and then having fintechs, card schemes, plastic manufacturers, personal bureaus, etc. That level of collaboration has to be in place if we're going to serve emerging markets, clearly. So we've talked about digitization, being digital and the like. Yes, you do that, but you must collaborate. Fintechs and the like, new fintechs that are coming up with new ideas. By the time, so we shouldn't be thinking about just ourselves. Banks and all stakeholders have to collaborate to make sure that we deliver on all these initiatives. So open APIs and other protocols, they must be in place. And we must agree standardization has to be in place, right? For us to be able to move forward in terms of serving emerging markets, like you said. So I had mentioned NIMC and the EID card and all of that. Supporting government-led initiatives, right? That will also help in terms of emerging markets. We cannot discountenance the fact that there are segments and sectors of the industry that still require a lot of hand-holding. And these are the emerging markets that we're talking about. So those initiatives that are being brought up by the government will come in very handy here. So we have to embrace embedded finance, of course, like I mentioned before. Cards have to be invisible and be part of every process that is being carried out right now in terms of the emerging markets. So cross-industry collaboration, agric, and the rest, those will feed into how we broaden the landscape in terms of our emerging markets. So those are just a few of the positions that I think that we need to put out there. But what do I want to speak to? Mainly, what am I very, very passionate about is that level of collaboration between all stakeholders. It's very important.
Okay, thank you, Nina. One key thing I take from what she said is collaboration, yes. Then she also mentioned that there are some sectors of some demographic, it's part of the demographic that are currently not, that you just need to use cards because one, they may not relate to transfer, and they relate more with the physical card for now. Okay, so that's, so talking about the ecosystem, it's still relevant in the area of meeting up with the financial inclusion, people that are not financially inclusive right now. You can meet up with them with the different schemes you're doing, right? Okay, so Kemi, come to you again from technology angle. What emerging trends in digital, physical, and fiscal payments should the card industry prioritize right now to stay ahead and ensure long-term relevance in a rapidly evolving payment landscape? What should they be prioritizing now in terms of technology?
I think we've mentioned a few of them, but I'll probably just flesh out a bit more. Definitely, if the card industry needs to think about how do I continue to remain relevant? That's the main thing. And how do you do that? You study the trends, you study the habits, you study what people do. So increasingly, we're going to see a shift as we go into the future in what I love to call remote commerce, which means that the payments may not necessarily happen in store. And that means you must start to think of the solutions around that. So embedded finance becomes very important, ensuring that the credentials are placed in strategic places. What are the different activities that people do? I want to buy food, I'm paying for my utilities. Those things should just happen without me having to think about putting card details. Number one. Number two that I think about is leveraging biometric authentication. Because one of the challenges again is you start to have multiple cards, you have different pins. I can easily leverage my iris, leverage my thumbprint to just authenticate the transaction. So that definitely is an area that the card schemes have to start to think about, or the card industry generally, we all have to think about. Another one that comes to mind is just leveraging AI, because you can't run away from it. It's come to a point that how do we ensure that even to drive more spend on the card, because we can start to use the data to look at the different persona, and I can tell that there are 1,000 types of people. These are the types of things they love to buy. And so the card industry can push a lot of those markets in leveraging AI to be able to ensure more spend patterns on those cards. So there's quite a bit there that we can definitely do. And sorry, just wanted to mention, it's one of the things that we love to do at Hydrogen. So for Hydrogen, we are very big on data. And so we tend to do this, mine the data, and work with our different financial partners to doing a lot more. Thank you.
Yeah, Vincent, do you agree?
Oh, yes. I couldn't agree more. So all that she's mentioned, I'm sure everyone on this panel already has a roadmap to digitize. So that's clear. In my view, I think there'll be really 3 major directions that cards will go. One is, like has been mentioned, which is digitization. From tokenized cards so that you can do mobile tap to pay, to even a QR code backed by cards, biometrics as well, backed by the infrastructure. Like I said, infrastructure that has achieved the level of interoperability would not go away. So you're going to see that. I think the other direction that cards will go is, I think what Nena said. I think we often kind of live in this financial services world. There are many more verticals that require digitization, require some kind of identity and access that are untapped, from health to education, so many. Transportation as well. And the good thing is that Verve is working its way into some of those industries. You will see a growth there. Then the third direction, I think, based on my experience, is that with time, you would look at expansion beyond even this market. Today, Verve has established itself in a number of markets. I think the latest one now is Sierra Leone. We're in Kenya, Uganda. We're having very good inroads in Senegal and in DR Congo. And I believe that in those markets, you'll be amazed. If I ask you what is the most mobile-centric region in Africa, you probably will say East Africa. But interestingly, we're seeing an embrace of cards there too. So those, I think, are the 3 directions that it will go. So I'm not taking away the fact that there will be some evolution in terms of digitization, but there's still a lot of headroom for us to do more.
Yeah, great. So the card schemes have agreed they are doing a lot in that direction. They are also bringing up new innovation to take care of the future of cards. Now, Tunde, I know one of the reasons people want to move away from cards is because of the environmental issues it poses. When those cards expire, they keep them, they throw them away, and the impact of those plastics to health. So how can the industry, how can this be addressed? How can you address these concerns about environmental impacts of plastic payment cards and move towards sustainable alternatives?
Thank you. So MasterCard did a survey that showed that 58% of consumers care about the environmental impact of their payment systems like cards. And a further survey showed that 85% of them were willing to adopt more eco-friendly solutions. So the desire is there. And the core part of this group were younger people, millennials and Gen Zs, who tend to favor brands that are more environmentally responsible. So I think it's in the industry's interest for future growth to make sure they're catering to those people's needs. As Doctor said, you want to cater to digital natives now. So there are a number of initiatives. There are biodegradable cards. There are eco-friendly. There are wooden cards that I remember Providence Bank did launch something 2 years ago, where for every wooden card issued, they planted a tree, which we thought was very awesome for the environment. And I feel like the way for us to approach this is to look at Now, eco-friendly cards are not cheap. There's a higher cost attached to environmentally sustainable cards because they're a bit more expensive. But there are companies that are they are recovering plastics from the ocean and using those to make cards again, making sure that first of all, they're continuing to use the same plastic, not making new plastics. There are companies that are using recycled PVC cards. These are all technologies that we as a company are trying to embrace and introduce into the market. We already have 2 banks that are very enthusiastic about it. And we've partnered with a startup called Green Life, who are looking to bring eco-friendly manufacturers and see how they can encourage them through carbon credits and ways like that to push more of these cards. I know that Visa and MasterCard are trying to move away from first use PVC in 2028 or something. And I'm sure Verve and Afrigo at some point will also follow through. Speaking of Verve, there are, as at our last research, there are 95 million active cards in Nigeria. Verve has 67 million of them, which is, which is something. I hope I've redeemed myself a little bit. So the point is there's a lot to do, but the main thing is what we are looking to do is understand what is happening and see how we can contribute to making sustainability grow, because that's what the environment needs and that's where plastics need to go. Thank you.
Okay, at this point, so much has been said about where we expect CAD to be in the future, in the near future. Everyone here has agreed that it's a form of payment, and it's something that is going to evolve into other types of, it's going to evolve like every other type of payments. They're going to move away from plastic with time, but we still have some school of thought that believes that for some sector of the demography, we still need the physical card for some, at least when they start using those, until such a time when they are able to use NFC phones and all that. You still have to serve them for some time. We just want to give a minute to the audience if they have any questions. Are there questions in online or physical? Just one question. Okay. Are there any questions? Okay. Okay, so I just need your parting thoughts, starting from Nena. Just a minute.
All right.
Parting thoughts.
Right. So I know the future of cards. We've said the future of cards here. We've heard Dr. Apochi, Dr. Gada, who has made it very clear. I still think that we still have to focus on some of the existing users who are not there yet or don't understand where we're going. So financial literacy, we need to teach and we need to guide. At Africa, we're very passionate about the unbanked, the underserved. So even as we're moving towards the future, we have to bring the rest of the gang along with us. So cards are not going anywhere. They're going to evolve. They're going to remove the plastic skin. They're going to be embedded in the background of everything that we're doing. At the same time, we need to carry everyone along, and we need to cater to every aspect of the demography. So that's where we're headed.
Thank you.
Thank
Tell
you.
me your parting thoughts.
So technology will continue to evolve. We can't fight it. The most we can do is embrace it and ensure that we continue to find relevance into the future. Thank you.
All right. I mean, my parting thoughts are, first of all, thank you, CB, because it's quite unusual for all the parties on the stage to be seated together. So, I mean, it's good. I think there should be more collaboration amongst all the players. In terms of future of cards, I think I mentioned it, but I'll summarize it again. First, I agree that there's going to be an evolution towards digital play. Secondly, I think there's going to be an expansion into industry verticals. And then third, because Africa still has a huge gap, there's going to be a regional play. And those will be the directions that cards will take.
Thank you.
I don't think I have anything to say after what they've all said. No, but yes, I totally agree with what everybody has said. For us, I strongly believe in charity begins at home. Nigeria is still far behind. We still, like Nena said, we need to carry the rest of our people along. And unfortunately, there are infrastructural challenges, limitations. There's a lack of trust. You're not going to tell Nigerian, just touch your card and they're taking your money. The average is like not happening. Even I have a limit on my contactless card because of this very same reason. So these are challenges, but they're also opportunities, because if we use AI-driven data to personalize the user experience, you'll get a lot more people because you localize the experience to them, and that will also bridge the financial gap, and also getting government to adopt the smart card technologies for programs like the NIMC airline card, the card they want to do, the health one, the agric one. That will also help bridge the gap for financial inclusion. So I think the future of cards, at least locally, is still very bright. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So in summary, cards are not going anywhere. What I think, what we've heard today is that they're just going to be raptured. You know what happens at rapture? They will take off their physical appearance and become invisible and walk behind the scenes, behind your devices and different things. So on this note, I want to say a very big thank you to the panelists. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you to the audience, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for this section. Thank you.
Thank you very much yourself as well for moderating this wonderful panel session. We'll have a photo up right now. I'd like to invite Dr. Agadapoche to please come join them, because it was his keynote presentation that helped us to push up with this particular moderating session. And a big thank you to Celestina Appeal, Health Card Services and Zenith Bank, and of course Ugo Abasi, Vincent Ogunude, Tunde Akabasharu, and then Kemi Okusonya. Thank you so very much. I'd like to invite the chairman and vice chairman, to also join as well, so that we can have all of this. Mr. Pelumi, I'll need the podium moved. Thank you. I just want to confirm, after this moment, we have product presentation. I want to confirm and, of course, have on queue OP, Lemfi or Lemfi, InterSwitch, Money Point to please be on queue. But before we go ahead to that, I would like to quickly also confirm if I have the following individuals in the house. Yeah, I want to confirm quickly so that we have all of these moments, as a matter of fact, cleared up. Now we will go in for our trivia. Thank you very much. We'll go in for our trivia first and foremost. So, ladies and gentlemen, can we have you have your phones out and then take this QR code, scan it immediately. Yeah, as soon as we have it scanned, put in the game pin. When you have that done, all right, are we there? Make sure you have your name and son name. Your name and son name. As soon as you have it registered, your names are going to pop up on the screen. I think I have Amsat. Your name and son name. Somebody's putting Betty. I'm not sure if that is going to help you qualify. Your name, first name and son name. And the first 40 that goes up, we will kick off. David, are you ready? You want to take out the QR code off so that we see those people who have already, uploaded their names and details. So, ladies and gentlemen, are we ready? Are we ready? I'm not getting the response I'm hoping for. Are we ready? Okay, David, are we ready? We are ready. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to pop out the question and it's on Kahoot. Please make sure you answer on your phone. Your phone is going to capture all of that. And the question is, true or false, Ajibadela Oluwadewale is the chairman of CB. True or false? First person who responds is the person who is going to be the winner. So I'm going to have my team at Netcall to let me know who the first responder is. True or false? I see 0-0. True is the right answer, naturally. Mr. Jibabe Laolo Adewale is the chairman of CB. So who is the first person who got that answer correctly? Well, I'm sorry, if you don't have your first name and second name, you obviously do not qualify. The instruction is first name and second name. Sorry, Chairman. Chairman says that we have to go ahead, so I understand that Hafsat, as a matter of fact, which is number 1, isn't it? Netcall. Is he a she or he? Now, so can we have Hafsat come up, please? Hafsat. Hafsat, are you here, Hafsat? Please make sure you see Oscar. Hafsat, you have to prove that you are the Hafsat. Are there more than one Hafsat in the house? Only one Hafsat? Okay, that's great. Please put your hands together for Hafsat, the only Hafsat here at CB. Another one. The chairman says he should run another one again. Please, are we ready? 20. Am I supposed to say it publicly? Okay, they say I should say it publicly. 25,000 naira. It's not easy. If you steal 25,000 in Okearin, you know what happens. And then you have 25,000 free of charge because you are part of the 2024 CB Annual Conference. And then thanks to Netcall, of course, with CB, we'll have another round we're going to go in. Somebody just whispered and chairman said, listen, let's just spread the goodies. We will now go back again. Please have the QR code scanned. David, are we ready for that? Let them have the QR code scanned. And are we going to use the same QR code or we have a new one? Sorry? Another one. Okay, so please put up the QR code up the screen. So ladies and gentlemen, that's the QR code and the game pin is 166585. Fastest fingers, please make sure you put your name and your surname. Alright, your first name and your surname. So it will help us in case if there are more than one person who is bearing that name so that we don't have any crisis. And then the question, David, as soon as you're ready, let us see how it goes. Are we ready? What's the question for the next winner? CB Event Section 5. Wonderful. Who is Miss Abidemi Asomo in CB? Ladies and gentlemen, the answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The answers are plenty. What's the answer, David? Let's have the answer. Who is Miss Abidemi Asumo in CB? Answer is she's the vice. Is she the vice chairman, the chairman? Okay, before somebody beats me here. She is a vice chairman of CB. And who is the fastest finger that won that second round? 3. Oluwatobi Ma Benu Balogun Rufiat. Number 1 is Abdul Salah Baruwa. This your name sounds like number 1 too. Ladies and gentlemen, Abdul Salah Baruwa is the winner of the second trivia game, as a matter of fact. Is he in the house? Abi is joining us online. Is in the house. All right, please put your hands together for him. This is the generation that we call digital natives with a thing. All right, and the generation, as a matter of fact, please hold on a moment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be going into the next aspect of it, and Abdul Salah Baruwa. All right, please kindly see the publicity secretary, so to speak, and he will give you the next direction. Where's Mr. Oscar? Oscar Mama is going to be coming out any moment from now to give the winners their prizes. Yes, but they have to locate Oscar. That's the issue, that Oscar is not yet in the hall. As soon as he comes in, please just stay with the ushers. As soon as Oscar comes in, I will point him to you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without taking too much of our time, we will go next with the invitation of OPE. OPE, please, can you please come up for your product presentation? OPE. OPE, all right. And then we have other product presenters. Please be on cue. Lemfi, InterSwitch, and Morning Point.
Okay, good morning to the chairman, CB, the vice chairman and executive members. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. So today's presentation is on, I think it should come up on the screen soon, but I'm having it here. Security and innovation at OPE. So we're going through a journey through our USSD, Night Guard, and large transaction shield. So it's basically the security features plugged into the front end of the OPE user application to protect customers from fraud and unauthorized access. So just, I'll just go straight to the point. So OPE has, the OPE is in multiple countries, not just in Nigeria. It's an MMO in Nigeria, but OPE is also in 4 continents and 10 countries. In Nigeria, we have the MMO license. OPE is one of the most downloaded financial services applications on the OPE, on the Google Play Store and on the iOS store. So we have the personal banking services and we have the customer or consumer banking service. So the personal banking is the one that most users have. The consumer app, it's for individuals. Where you download the app, you have access to wallet services, funds transfer services, bill payments, etc. Then we also have the business solutions for our agents. That's where we have the merchant acquiring services. We have the POS services for, and we have, today we have merchants across several sectors. Okay, fine. So this just talks about, okay, first of all, at the back end, we have some security built in. So because we have a lot of user data, we have a lot of transaction data. So there's some secure access to the data involved that we collect from our customers. So we have identity management, there's access control. So data is not accessible to everyone. And most of this data is also encrypted to ensure that there's security. So first thing I'll talk of our USSD code. So we have the star 955 code. So that's one of the levels of security. So where a device is lost or your card is lost, you can use the star 155, star 955, star 131 hash to block your wallet, and the star 955, star 132 hash to block your card. So that way, it can be done by any OPE user. It must not be yours, but the person has to register with OPE. So that way, it's an easy way to secure your funds, secure your wallet, and secure your OPE access. Then next one, I'll talk of the large transaction shield. So what one thing we've observed is that in certain circumstances, one does a large transaction. Even there's cases where I want to do like 50,000, I go and do 500,000. Before you know, the money is gone. So what large transaction shield does, it requires your facial authentication. And it does 2 things. One, security and authentication. Second one, it also serves as a reminder. So there are several cases where it just reminds you, whoa, I'm sending a big amount. Let me cross-check the name, cross-check the details. So it's like a 2-in-1 for the large transaction shield. So what it does, it uses the facial data that you've saved on you. Like today, when you want to open the wallet, you must use your NIN or your BVN or both, depending on the tier of wallet. And also you have a selfie. So it's going to compare the images and do a matching and have a score. So there's a minimum score. If the face doesn't meet the minimum score, your transaction is not going to go. So that way you are sure that your funds are secure. So even if for some reason your details are compromised, maybe via WhatsApp or social engineering hack, you're sure that large transactions will fail without your facial authentication. Then the second, the third feature, I thought this is the third one now, the night shield. There have been several circumstances, like typically when fraudsters hack an account because of transaction limits, because we have transaction limits, most times they would initiate a transaction by close to midnight, max out the limits. Just after midnight, they will continue to do a second transaction. So they'll be able to be 2 days limit in about 10 minutes. So what this large transaction shield does, or Night Guard rather, what Night Guard does is that it requires your facial authentication for transactions overnight. So from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., it's an optional feature anyway. So once you turn it on, any transaction, irrespective of the amount, would require your facial verification. So those are some of the features OPE has built in recently to secure customer funds and to ensure that our customers are not subject to fraudulent activities. So I think that's the last slide. So I will just talk of some of our awards. So OPE has recently, 2023, 2024, we've won multiple awards, both locally and internationally. Some of them are based on our fast payment system. Some are based on our innovation. So we have the CNBC in 2023. CNBC gave us digital payments category, top 200. That's a global award. We also have from the World Economic Forum, which is also an international award. And more recently, I'll just cut off time. More recently, we won an award from CBN as one of the top fintechs in terms of innovation and mobile payments. So thank you very much for your time. We have a booth over there, so you can feel free to come over and ask more questions to know more about OP. Thank you very much.
I use OP. Thank you very much. Congratulations on your awards. This is great. Can we have LearnFi to please come up? Please put your hands together for LearnFi.
Well, God, everybody, it's good to see you here again. We go way back. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, everyone. Vice Chairman and all the distinguished guests are here. Please, can we have the presentation up, please? Oh, yeah. So it's LearnFi. So what I will try to do is, unlike a few other people, maybe you're not familiar with who we are, I will run you through our journey at LearnFi and how we came to where we are today, right? My name is Kelechi. I head both businesses, new businesses, and partnerships within LearnFi. Please, the next slide. All right, so it's potentially a very familiar story that a number of us have heard over time, Japa syndrome, right? And maybe not individually, but just someone in your family, your brother, your mother, your sister, someone is outside the country. And thinking about this problem deeply, you see that something happens, right? You go from Nigeria to Canada, or you go from Nigeria to the UK, and something fundamentally happens is you move from being the ish where you are, and you go somewhere else where you're starting from ground zero. So everything you've built in Nigeria, your bank account balances, your credit worthiness, the people you know, all of that just seems to vanish out of the blue, right? And that was a deep problem that we started thinking about, that why does this actually have to happen? Why do you have to go from 100 to 0, like very fast? It was unfair, in our opinion, right? That you needed to go through building everything you've done in Nigeria, Africa, Asia, everywhere you are, and you're coming down to a new place where no one knows you, and you can't even build out, because a number of these systems are built out of credit or other systems that maybe potentially are unfair to Africans or other people, right? Please, the next slide. And as we were thinking about this problem deeply, a number of questions started to occur to us. Why does it have to be this way? And explain a bit of this. Why should immigrants start over from the ground zero when they move to a new place? And why do they have to go through this in building a new life from the scratch? And in thinking about this problem, what you see is we started coming up with a few solutions. Please, the next slide. Okay, before we go to the solutions. So still on this very big problem that we're thinking about, we know that Nigerians, 230 million people, we have a very large diaspora population. From just the numbers that we have, it's numbering over millions, right, of Nigerians in the global north that are looking to move money back home, right? So that is the big problem. We have tackled this problem. A lot of people are also looking at tackling this problem. Next slide, please. And in thinking about this problem, what do we see as the solution to solving this problem, right? The first way we thought about it, and this is like 4 or 5 years ago when we started the business, is if you're looking to solve a problem, you tackle it with the immediate solutions that you can think about, right? So today, if you have friends, you have families outside, what are the first thing that they try to do when they move to UK and they've gotten their first job? The first thing that comes to your mind is, we have people back home that we need to solve for, right? How can we ensure that we help them move money, one, from, say, the UK down to Nigeria at very fast, affordable rates, right? And also make it very speedily. Because Nigerians have gotten used to a system where, thankfully, we were discussing today, NIP and a few other channels, you're doing transactions and it happens almost immediately. So that same kind of experience that we see in Nigeria, when we travel abroad, we want to have the same kind of experiences. So we solved the first problem, which was helping people move money from the global north down to Nigeria. But then our solution is now not just Nigerian-centric, right? We're available in over 22 countries as receive markets. So think about Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, India, Pakistan, everywhere. Pretty much over 22 countries, you're able to receive money down from the global north down to the global south. And when we're thinking about this as a solution, to us, it's not just a moving money back home. Think about it. You have people in your families that are sick. You're in America and you're sick back home. Moving money and helping them move money back home helps to, one, potentially increase the GDP of the country and solve immediate problems for people that we have back home. So having said all of these nice things, there are a few other things that we also think about generally, please 2 slides back, in solving this problem. One, we've solved the remittance problem, but the solution to us doesn't stop at just solving for remittance. There are a number of other challenges that we see that people in diasporas start to face as they try to acclimatize into a new system. One is credit, right? So we start thinking about, are there other things that are not just remittance driven that we can start to solve for these people? So credit, potentially, we have this in our roadmap, thinking about how can we get people that are moving from Nigeria down to the US or the UK. How can they start building credit worthiness that helps them settle into these new countries faster? They need to build out savings. You will see if you're in the UK or other places, the savings products that they have, almost 2%, 3% per annum. That solves almost nothing for you. So we started to think, are there other things that people are used to back home that we can help them solve outside the country? And why am I here today, right? I've said all of this. A number of you maybe are not familiar with LendFi today, but if you do have people outside the country, do tell them, number one remittance app you have is LendFi. By all means, get them to download it. But in addition to that, we have all of the top bankers, all of the top partners also within here. Our ask will be, come down to our LendFi booth. We're happy to discuss with you on products like payouts and also FX sales directly to the banks and through IMTOs. And I'll leave you with one simple charge. So every time we make it easier for someone to send money, access credit, or save for the future, we're not just building a product. We are building trust, we're building hope, and we're building a better world for the millions who rely on us. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much. That has been a wonderful presentation. Please, can we have Money Point? Is Money Point on cue? Trivia. Okay. I can see Madam Sholape Amond, waving her hands and like, okay, we are going to have another money dashing. We want to dash money. Who feels like receiving money here? Let me see you. Chairman, excluding you, we will not put you in, yourself and even Mr. Atanda, we are not putting you in this game. All right. David, are we ready? Netcore and CD, money trivia. Are the technical guys also in part of this whole thing? Look at this man handling this thing, has brought out his phone. You guys are just cutting me out of it all. Can we have the QR code right now, David? So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going next to another trivia, Netcore and CB. Okay, so that is the QR code. You know how this goes. Scan it and then feed in the game pin, which is 865614. Are you there? Are you there? Are you there? This is digital natives now, affair. This one is it has gotten into. Okay, I think we're having quite a number there. David, are we good to go? All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is a question. CB event section 3. Can we have the trivia question? 1, 2, go. What new feature was unveiled at the CB 2024 event? What new feature was unveiled? This one is very simple. The answers are here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we have 30 people actually got the answer right. 14 people got it wrong. Wonderful. A mobile app for financial inclusion. I'm very sure the chairman specifically said that they are not all about that. A blockchain payment solution. Chairman, have you started CB payment solution? All right, CB's new logo. Please, we still have the logo we've always been using. All right, so the answer is CeBIH revamped website. And the winner is number 3, Feyi Beleo. Number 2, Ade Damilola Ade. You're not the winner, don't worry. Sewanu Loko. Are you sure this person is in Nigeria? Or the person is joining us online? Who is the person? Please put your hands together for the man. Wonderful. Look at the way he's waving like Tinubu. He is happy to have gotten. Everyone, you want to see Oscar. We want to see Oscar. Oscar Bowman is here. Is going to do that transfer. Congratulations. This is quite impressive. 25,000 naira. You can't steal that money. That one is quarter of a tank now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me quickly recognize from SANEF, Madam Uche Uzoebo. Please put your hands together for her. It's good to see you, Madam. Please put your hands together for her. SANEF has done well, as a matter of fact, a great partnership with CeBIH. And then we also have Money Point I've announced earlier on. Are they on queue? Money Point. What about InterSwitch? Is InterSwitch on queue? All right. Okay, InterSwitch. Please, can you put your hands together for InterSwitch as they come to make their product presentation?
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Special thanks to CeBIH, led by Jirade and Bidemi and the ESCOs, for having us attend this event today. It's great to be here. How many of us were here yesterday? If you were not here yesterday, you missed out. Yeah, I heard there were a lot of good keynote speeches and insightful presentations. I was not here yesterday, let me confess. But I heard about everything that happened and I needed to attend today's event, so I don't miss out on the good things today. First and foremost, my name is Bumi Aino, Vice President, Sales and Account Management and Partnership in one of our businesses in InterSwitch, Payment Processing and Switching. And we are happy to be here today. Yesterday, our founder and Group Managing Director gave a keynote speech. And today, we're not going to say anything less of what he has said. It's just a continuation of what was said yesterday. But we just want you to join us on a short journey. We're going to play a video about InterSwitch. Then I'll do a little bit breakdown of what we've been able to do in the last 2 decades. And we hope that we'll be able to take more conversations from there. I don't know if the video is ready now.
The times have changed. The African business landscape will keep evolving. Nevertheless, here at InterSwitch, the beat goes on. The beat of millions of transactions that go through our Swiss daily. The beat of thousands of merchants trusting us to power their payments and lending ecosystem. The beat of hundreds of financial institutions and fintechs across Africa banking on our payment solutions to deliver value to their customers. The beat of ambitious businesses leveraging on our platforms to expand across the continent and beyond. The beat of innovations coursing through our products, transforming lives one transaction at a time. The beat will never stop because it is the beat of our vision to see a prosperous Africa driven by a seamless exchange of value and commerce. It is our beat. It is your beat. It is the beat of Africa.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So a little bit of what we've said is in the last 2 decades plus, we've worked with CeBIH and all the banks and partners represented here. We've done a lot around payment systems. We've done a lot around all the channels that you see today are being driven in different merchant locations. ATMs, POSs, mobile banking, internet banking, that some of our banks today use and financial partners. These are some of the things that we've done relatively well in the last 2 decades. And in addition to that is we've also made collections and disbursements happen seamlessly for government parastatals, for revenues across state governments, leveraging on the assets of our partners like banks, bank branches, digital platforms, and collections business. So we've done that pretty much. The panel that just concluded before the product presentation, our Verve MD Vincent was present there, and he spoke about the Verve card. This is one of the brainchild of InterSwitch Group, and it's over a decade now. He's no longer a child, he's become a teenager, and he's also going into adolescence, and would soon expand beyond the continent and even take us outside of Africa. He spoke about how we intend to digitize Verve cards, how we intend to make it digitally acceptable in different channels. That is already being done today. We intend to continue to partner. Collaboration was key on that panel. Without collaboration, we are not here. We cannot be here. And that is one of the things that we need to applaud CB for as well. Please, if you don't mind me joining and clapping for them. This isn't the first event they've done, and this won't be the last one. They've shown in the industry, they're leading the industry right and bringing people together to talk about problem solving, talk about the major industry issues that needs to be resolved. And that is why we're here today. Part of what the Verve cards have done recently, is even acceptance on international merchants. So today with your Verve cards, you can make your payments on YouTube, on Netflix, even though we heard they said Netflix is going, but I don't think that is true. You know, you can make payments on YouTube, Netflix, Google, recently AliExpress. With all this acceptance of Verve, we know that the future is bright. Digitization will be achieved with all of us in the room collaborating well. One other thing that should be mentioned is cross-border transactions. So we intend to be able to make Verve cards work across neighboring African countries where it is accepted. You don't need to go to another country and you are short of how to access your cash. With your Verve card, you can use it in neighboring countries. And we're making that happen with the use of our platform that would really accept the Verve cards across Africa. And we're using the technology of blockchain. I saw in one of the trivial questions that CB is about to launch a blockchain technology. But I think I love that.
No, that is not true.
Yeah, so that will be powered by a blockchain technology platform to make Verve across Africa happen. And finally, we have an ecosystem play where we are into transportation, forecourt automation. We're also into car park systems in InterSwitch, where we're able to deliver the solutions to airports, public places, where the solutions make payments easy for car users and customers. We also recently announced our efforts with the Lagos State government for our health system. We call it the Lagos Ship System. This is also an avenue for InterSwitch where we have touched different vertical markets, not just the financial institutions. We've also taken it to other vertical markets where we are creating solutions, collaborating, co-ideating, and creating solutions. The last but not the least is to say, with the help and support of everybody here, InterSwitch is the first unicorn coming from Nigeria. Likewise, we have collaborated with fellow unicorns who have been announced from Africa, and we intend to continue to put in our shifts and efforts to creating more unicorns from Nigeria into the world. We would like to have people visit our booth to talk more about some of our other products and services. Please feel free, myself and my colleagues were out there to have more conversations around this. I will leave us with a last note from one of my colleagues, Ben. He always says, we can only run as much as our collective legs can take us. It touches and borders on collaboration. We can only move further as much as we collaborate and cooperate together. So I'm hoping and believing with the drive and leadership of CB, we'll be able to achieve more together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's a presentation from InterSwitch, one of our sponsors. We recognize you, and definitely we would like to, before we go into our keynote presentation, I'm glad that the Chief Executive Officer of Remitter Payment Services is on seat. We will have Netcore, who is going to be presenting. And I understand that they have a trivia as a matter of fact as well. So this time around, it's going to be a bountiful affair. And so please, ladies and gentlemen, can you put your hands together for the representative from Netcore, one of our partners on this wonderful platform. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm seeing a less energy here. And the last event which I attended, I saw a very high energy. So I expect that I will get the same reciprocation from your side. I'm Saket here. I'm a Chief Revenue Officer for Netcore Cloud, handling APAC business based out of Singapore. And Netcore, does anyone don't know Netcore? A show of hand? Okay. Let me start with, my topic is going to be, I'm not going to talk about anything, what is happening in Nigeria, because you all are wise enough to understand what is happening around. You just have a stroll on the alley there, and you will see the kind of payment, transaction, cross-border payments, digital banking, the way the overall ecosystem is evolving. So I'm not going to touch upon that largely. But if you look at, I just want a show of hand, and all there as well, that how many of us feel that GenAI is overhyped? None of you? Okay, how many of us have used GenAI? Show of hands. Then the people who are not raising their hand, then that means they are falling in this, right, category? Right? But let me tell you guys, that anyone who is feeling that GenAI is overhyped, it's an understatement. What I feel, and as the way things are happening around, it is one of the greatest revolution which is going to happen around everything which you do today. And it is as remarkable as people are talking about a computer or electricity or an internet. So anybody who has not paid enough attention on GenAI, I would humbly request, go invest your time, sign up for the ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity, whatever you like. I think that's something which is there. And I'll talk about some of the investment happening that will endorse the point which I'm talking about. I don't have the clicker with me, so just bear with me on that. I will have to give a sign every time when the slide needs to be moved. But if you look at in 2024 alone, 80 billion investments have happened from investors in this space. If I move on, only talking about GenAI startups, right? 20 billion investment has happened in 2024. And if you go further on, regionally, look at the different four major regions which are there, right? North America, 20 billion. And if you look at the focus, if you're talking about Europe, it's a regulation. The focus, I've just written the focus areas below where the investments are happening, because that is also important. I will touch upon that in the summary slide, that what are the core focus area where GenAI investments and AI investments are happening for fintech and the digital banks. If you move on to the next, it's majorly in Asia, investments are happening on payments and digital banking. If you further go on Africa, and I'm sure all of you can resonate with it, right? We're talking about financial inclusion, credit access, and SME. Largely, I think majority of us fall into that gamut. Data centers all across, if you look at overall Southeast Asia, different markets, 50 billion investments have already happened only in H1 of this financial year. So that talks about, and they are investing on what we call it AI-ready data centers. And AI data centers, what kind of impact it will have on the brands, I'm going to quickly touch upon that as well. Look at the growth projections. Now this is where we are, the numbers which I have shown. Let's talk about what are the growth projections which are there. We're talking about 20 billion by 2030. And look at the scale which we are talking about, and the kind of ecosystem which will grow as we move along. If you look at only GenAI investment, by 2028 it is going to be 3 times. And what are the focus areas which is going to be there is on the personalized financial services and the fraud protection. And these are the 2 large areas where investments are going to come in and where banks or fintech companies are going to prioritize. And if you look at in terms of the data centers, by 2030, they are going to invest 50 billion annually. Now, this is an interesting slide. While all this is talking about where we are at an investment stage and where the investment is going to be, what is the growth which is going to be. But let's look at what is the impact which we'll see on the enterprise today. You will see all of these happening with the emergence of AI and GenAI, a faster product development, efficiency bound to go high, and overall operational cost is going to reduce. And if you look at some further areas, right, where it is going to be, you are going to build product faster, you are going to do experiment faster. So all of these things which you were trying to do earlier in a 2 days time, now you can do it within a minute, which we are talking about. So that is the kind of speed and agility which this is going to bring. Now, this is what impact, and I'm sure all of you would be experiencing that in your organization as well, that this is happening today. And we have seen this transformation happening, right, that AI has evolved from analysis to creation. And I'm going to touch upon that creation part quickly in my presentation. That will kind of give you a sense of it, that when we are talking about creation and in terms of the data, how are we looking at it? From the customer side of it, we spoke about all the investment which tech players are doing. But if I look at the other side of it, in terms of the customer, we are also going to see roughly 160 billion investment, which is going to happen by the customer side by 2028, and which is the kind of phenomenal growth which is there. So it is backed by the tech investments and the customers who are also going to invest on it. Now, I think while these paradigm shifts were happening, I think Netcore, we were able to kind of understand that this wave is going to come, and we started investing in AI technology right from 2016. So roughly 8 to 9 years we have done these investments, when initially we started with subject line optimization, send time optimization, then we moved on to doing predictive analytics, right, in terms of, okay, can I give a segment who are likely to churn, who are likely to do a transaction, who are likely to do next best action. So largely, I think we are building a lot of those things around it. And over the last 4 or 5 years, we also acquired 3 companies to make our platform richer and give that kind of personalized experience for our customers. Now, that is past. As we are sitting today, I'm going to introduce a new concept here, which will like, when you hear it, it will look like similar to you. It's a co-marketer. And this co-marketer is basically, it is going to assist all the marketers while doing any campaign, whether you are looking for a good subject line, if you are looking for a better template for your campaigns, if you are looking for a better analytics in your dashboards, everything can get sorted with the help of co-marketer. And I'm going to show you one example of it. Look at this. So this is a video from our platform itself. We have this co-marketer there. Can I just have the video on? So just look at the screen. You go to co-marketer. Now you're trying to create a push notification here, and I'm trying to create one push notification in Bahasa, in Indonesia, because Bahasa is the language of Indonesia. So what we are talking about, any local language which you want to create a campaign today, we have a co-marketer there. You can choose you can give a prompt. You can see the options of subject lines which is there. Then you can also see the sentiment of it in terms of what is the overall sentiment, whether it is witty, whether it's emotional, whether it is it's kind of touching upon how campaigns are going to fare. All of these things will be there. Once you have selected a subject line, then you go and select a content of it. Now both the things, once you have selected, your push notification is ready to be sent out. No picking up a brain, no thinking about your gut feeling, what will work, what will not work. Let GenAI work here. And the important aspect here is you can always counter it, right? That I could do it separately also. But what we are doing here, we are adding a behavior data of your consumer with the OpenAI. And that's why it becomes even more powerful in terms of predicting your subject lines or your content. And I'm going to have a next video which kind of talks about some of the other areas which also we are introducing with the help of Co-Marketer. Can I have a sound, please? Versus this week transaction, and all of those will be pulled from the data from that side. Live with some of our customers, and I think we've catered to Nigeria itself over 100 brands. So I'm sure some of you would have seen it and we would have presented it to you, but more than happy to kind of showcase to you. We are around, happy to chat with you all. And this is the larger goal which we are solving, whether with the help of AI or with the help of any other technology which we are doing. Largely, how can we go to the customers with the right content, right context, right channel, and a right customer. Thank you all for hearing me and looking forward to interacting with all of you.
Thank you so very much, sir. We have a trivia from Netcore, as a matter of fact, and David is going to help us with that, just as a way to say a big thank you for them. And David has actually beaten me to it. He's put up the QR code with the game pin 123263. Are you ready? Have you all scanned? All right. Let me have that. I understand that we have 3 special presentations that is going to be given to... No, up here, sir. Let them see it clearly so that they will know that it's original. This one is not BVR or something, what do you call that? Well, the Netcore had said that we should give this one... Yes, as a matter of fact. There are a lot of people behind. Yes. So this was the arrangements so we can go ahead with this, and then Netcore, you are listening to my chairman. I'm very sure this is going to come with your own for later in the evening, so that we have so much as the case is, and then we have all of these individuals that have qualified. So let's have the question. 1, 2, 3. Netcore question, and it is 3, 2, 1 quiz, and it is: how many percentage of Nigerian banks, wonderful, uses Netcore? Make sure you know the answer. And time up. 40 people got it right. Wonderful. Can we have the first? Let's see the winners. We have a lot of Eficos in this place. Adeshola 1, Oluben 2, and the number 1 person is this one. You have told Aboni and Bimbolas are here. Aboni and Bimbolas are here. You are told, make sure you put your name and your surname. Now you've created crisis for us. Chairman, you are Bimbola. Manasolato too is Bimbola. The avatar. Okay, it is your avatar. David, is the avatar unique to the person who answers? Chairman, they say the avatar is unique. All right. Please listen to instructions, your name and surname. Please, can we have the three winners? Adeola, Odeshola, Abimbola with the avatar, with the headphone. And the Oluboy, please, can you come up? The 1, 2, 3. Netcall decided that they are going to present these three to the 1, 2, 3 winners. Please, can we have Oga to please come up? And of course, Chairman. Yeah, those who are online, I hope you guys, as a matter of fact, are aware that this is also to your own benefit. We've not had anybody winning from online. Please, sir, can you come up? Vice Chairman, please. Vice Chairman and Chairman, please come up. All right, so, yes, we will present that to the winners. All right, so, who goes first? Vice Chair, I think we only say ladies first. Can we have Adeola or Deshola please come up? Please put your hands together for her. I know you didn't win, that's why you're not clapping. What makes you think you will win the next trivia? Over to you. You can present it to her. Congratulations. All right, Netcall is one of our partners and supporters. Have you captured that right? Thank you very much. Thank you, Adeola. What's the second person? Oluben, I believe. Oluben. All right, there you go. For Oluben, Chairman. And Oluben, first people, let them know that you are original. No, you start with the person who is giving you the. Oluben, this is fantastic. Congratulations. And my name too is Abimbola. Please, can we have the Abimbola with the congratulations. Please, next time put your name and your surname so that we don't have a situation where we have to look for several Abimbolas. Chairman has peeped in and said yes, Abimbola. We know you as Abimbola. Oh my Lord. Anyway, congratulations, Chairman. I didn't see anything, Chairman. Please put your hands together for the winners. Congratulations. Thank you very much, sir. You can have your seat. Chairman and Vice Chairman, please have your seat. Thank you very much. And there is more, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm made to announce. It's good to see you, ma'am. At this point in time, I would like to quickly invite to present his keynote on the topic MPSV 2030 driving actualization through effective collaboration. And I'm talking about no other person than the Chief Executive Officer of Remita Payment Services Limited, Mr. Deremi Atamba. Please, can you put your hands together for him while we have the technical guys have a slide up. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. The company resident CB. It's been ages, and it's really nice to be here. And there are many things we've been talking about since yesterday, so this is going to be the easy part of it. And it's not going to be anything about technology. It's going to be about a vision. So this is actually mobilization for national effectiveness. So how many of us are familiar with the Nigerian payment system vision? Is anybody familiar here with it? Nigerian payment system vision? Yeah? By show of hands, can I see you're familiar with the Nigerian payment system vision? I can bet it's less than 10% of people here. So it's going to be very difficult for us to talk about 2030 when we don't know what it is. And to make this conversation very simple, it will just be about what's a national payment system vision. It's become a passionate thing for me as a Nigerian, and that's why it's forming the thrust of the conversation this morning. What exactly is the national payment system vision? What did we set out to achieve, and what have we achieved? So this started about 2007, and we set a 13-year goal. So by 2020, we're going to do something. And there was rapid technological advancement, and this had to be revised in 2013. So at 2020, we're changing a view of what's going to be like. And when that was about happening, we said, we've done this another 5 years, 2025. The question is, what is the National Payment System Vision 2030? Does anyone know? So, that is where CeBIH comes in. And for me, I think CeBIH is just flying a kite. CeBIH is reminding us that as a country, we need to put very hard markers on ground. There must be something around which we are galvanized. So if 2030 doesn't exist, if 2025 exists as a document, and between 2020 and 2025, there have been 5 years, who is setting the agenda for the next 5 years? I imagine that's the context in which CeBIH has framed this, that we cannot just rest on our oars, we need to move ahead. So I'm going to put a stake in the ground to take us back a while to say, how about payments? How did we get into all of this? Where do national payment systems emerge from? Where do they originate from? And because it's not a master class, I'll just give you an idea. It's not a Nigerian thing, it's a global thing. And we all are familiar with the concept of PFMI, Public Financial Market Infrastructure. For every economy within the entire globe, there must be, and there is, a framework for public financial market infrastructure. And there are 5 key dimensions, as you can see on the screen. Payments just happens to be one of them. And so when you begin to think about banking and fintech, and we're still bothering about who is where, we need to understand that many things have happened in terms of commerce, in terms of engagements globally, and there is a global architecture for payments. And because payments will happen in different jurisdictions, there must be clarity on what payment is. And these 5 dimensions, payments is just one: central securities, trade repositories, central counterparties, and security settlements. So the whole idea of the National Payment System Vision originates from public financial market infrastructure. And if we were to take that forward, it says no matter where you're on the globe, for you to be an active participant, for you to be included in global payments, in global transactions across those 5 dimensions, there are 9 themes and 24 principles. Why I'm going this way is because many people think payments is happenstance. Many people are involved in payments and innovating around it without being familiar with these things. So you get into crossroads because you're not even aware there's a global ecosystem, there are standards. So it's not news when you hear that Nigeria is on the gray list. It's a function of these 24 principles across the 9 themes. If we're not going to take anything away from these 2 days, we need to know that there is a concept. And around this concept is where the vision is built. So we're talking about the general organization. Every person, irrespective of those 5 dimensions, where payments is one, all parties must comply with this. So if you happen to be in the payment ecosystem, and this is not something you're familiar with, I'll just say you need to go back to the fundamentals. You need to discover these things and build around them, because that's what's going to make you a player. So we want to domesticate this and bring it in. So by way of a quick reminder, if you didn't grow up in church and you didn't grow up going to learn your Quranic verses, just let me remind you what the National Payment System Vision is. It is broad. It is intimidating, but it's a vision that Nigeria has adopted. So for a minute, just think of digesting this and everything you're building, if it's around this. Critical to the Nigerian Payment System Vision is what it seems to achieve, is a tool to facilitate economic activities. That's the thing. So if you're talking about the growth of a nation, critical to it will be payments. And how that happens will be a function of what Nigeria has captured here. And this is no joke. So for everyone within the payment ecosystem in this country, there must be a way you should domesticate this within the business you're running. If you cannot domesticate what you're doing within this context, there's a gap. So all the innovations, all the technologies, all the partnerships, everything must find a situation within this context. economic activities facilitation, providing safe and efficient mechanisms for making and receiving payments with minimum risks to the central bank, payment service providers, and end users, extending the availability and usage to all sectors and geographies, banked and unbanked, and conforming to internationally accepted regulatory, technical, and operational standards. So we're building local for global because those standards exist. And we may want to check what happens in other places. And these are iterations. And by the way, is anybody familiar with the UK payment system vision? It was just released in November 2024. November 2024. It's a second iteration that's largely focused on retail because of the many things they've done. If we do not know these things, it will be difficult to galvanize efforts behind them and to work together. And that's why the thrust of this engagement today is collaboration. How we make these things happen as a call to stakeholder play. South Africa says we want to enhance the safety of that. UK says this is what we want to do. India says this is what we want to do. Kenya says this is what we want to do. That means the national payment system vision is something we should all be very familiar with. And when we're rounding off, we're going to see why that's important. It is something of significant national importance because that's what's going to drive how we go about it. And when we brought the National Payment System Vision 2020, and that's something that I've been happy to be part of since 2007, it's been rigorous, engaging. There were some certain things that were set as goals. What do we have to show for it? Definitely we have some things to show for it. We can see 145% growth in active bank accounts, about 12,000% growth in real-time payments, about 7,000% growth in POS transactions in volumes. And you can see the nature within that space, a fintech unicorn, and over $1 billion in foreign direct investment into fintech. Those things did not happen by accident. There's a vision behind it. And where things fail is where we're unable to connect the dots. Every one of us as ecosystem players must be able to see ourselves and where we connect. And like I said, I believe CB is flying a kite, and I know the CBN, as ever responsive, will definitely be cooking something behind the scene. One of the most exciting things I would like to see is what is the size of opportunities of the national payment system by 2030? What is the size of the opportunities? And these opportunities in themselves can become drivers for those of us in industry, and it can also be stimulators for those who want to come in. When you describe the opportunities, and those opportunities are going to be local and international, but building from right here. And if we were to look at the different things we wanted to achieve, in 2020, you'll be talking about the unique ID, instant payments, introduction of new channels, infrastructure, the services, and the growth. Has it been all smooth sailing? Did we encounter challenges? Yes, we did. And that's what informed Payment System Vision 2025. And we said we're going to do some other things. But guess what? January 1 is just how many days away? 26 days? 26 days? Yeah. So it means those of us in this room should ordinarily be confident to tell ourselves how far away are we from what we set out to do in 2025. If that's not a guiding principle, there's a huge gap. And that's one of the things that I am going to recommend that CB should take on. And it's interesting to note that the 6th president of CB, Dr. Stanley Jacobs, is the current 3rd president of FinTech Nigeria. So there's a platform for collaboration to deepen the insights about what payments really mean and the opportunities that they represent. So, National Payment System Vision 2025, what did we say? New licensing regime, market-driven innovation, increased digital payments, improved infrastructure. And like I said, we should be marking the script today to say, okay, 26 days to these targets, how close, what percentages have we achieved? And that in itself should form the next phase of adventure as a country, because that vision is constant. It is how we are operating that vision to achieve the purpose for which we've said this. So, Let me follow the CB leadership and try to project. And so I'm flying a kite with CB. So these are 2025 things. Active bank accounts, where were we? 10% growth, that 11 POS agents, 700%. But you can see what happened the first phase. But we keep saying we want to achieve this. So we remind ourselves, where are we headed? Where are we headed? Like I said, this is just very speculative at best to say, what do we want the next 5 years to be? Because the nature of payments in the next 5 years will have a direct correlation with the growth of the Nigerian economy. We have a direct correlation with the investments in payments, infrastructure services, and the growth of skills and enablements and abilities in this economy. I think the prospects are exponential, but that these things cannot be left to chance. And that is why all stakeholders need to understand the place of collaboration to make this happen. NPSV 2030, the vision remains. How we flex it? Technologies, we've heard about different things. Technologies are changing. How are we going to flex those to achieve the objectives? Cross-border trade, what are we going to do differently? Anybody in the room is familiar with WAMSI? WAMSI? West African Monetary Zone. What have we made of it? Nobody is saying anything. But things are changing very fast. And technology is obliterating barriers and borders. Some concepts will need to be dropped, some will need to be refashioned, but we must keep our eyes focused on the vision. So we don't complain for complaining's sake. They must be with the reference to where we've all agreed we'll be going. So if I were to talk about 6 things, following from the opportunity CB is given to project and look into the crystal ball, what should we be focusing on? There have been many initiatives that have been driven by the regulator, many driven by the industry. We now need to begin to harmonize this and bring other stakeholders in. I'm just thinking we need to improve the resilience of core infrastructure. If you go to those 9 themes and the 24 principles, you see this place for infrastructure and why your infrastructure may not be admitted to the global payment ecosystem because it's not matching up to some things. Resilience is one. So we want to think in terms of what are the payment infrastructures in Nigeria. What standards do they comply to? I'm aware there are efforts being made about standardization so that it makes it easy to collaborate, but not even many people are aware of the importance of that. So we're still building infrastructure in silos without necessarily aligning with the same standards. That will not take us far. Those are the things that have held us back, and we shouldn't allow that to continue to happen. And I'll speak a bit more to the space of collaboration and competition down the line. I'm also projecting that we should be ambitious and set financial inclusion target to 90%. And you know this raging controversy, not controversy engagement, economic inclusion or financial inclusion. Financial inclusion or economic inclusion. And we should be able to say where we want to go with that. The third thing will be about driving cross-border payments. Nature abhors a vacuum, and many things begin to happen when the things that are supposed to happen are not happening. If you understand what I'm saying. Other things will begin to take its place, and then you think you're losing control. So it's better to be at the driver's seat and define how cross-border payments are supposed to happen, what standards are supposed to be upheld, so that the national payment system vision can be realized and Nigeria as a country can be exactly where it should be. Driving payment service adoption through an invigorated customer protection. I don't know, one of the speakers was speaking earlier to say, even me, I don't know how much I want to keep in my wallet somewhere. Consumer advocacy, consumer protection are the things that will ensure that the vision is realized. You cannot build something people don't trust and expect it's going to work and deliver the benefit. That's why it's so encapsulated in the vision. What needs to happen? Significantly reduce fraud, and that is directly linked to what I said. It must be trusted and it must meet standards. We've had an attempt at digital currency. What next are we going to do? And what are the benefits? I'm thinking there should be 4 enablers, thinking about the payment system vision 2023. And I'm going to zero in on the last one, which is collaboration. First will be policy and regulation. And that says we need to strengthen policy and regulation that drive adoption. The environment must be clear. People should not stumble on payments or struggle to understand what it means. Policies should be so clear that anyone in that space can relate with it. It should not be ambiguous. Infrastructure development must be all-encompassing. And that is something that is huge. We've got a unique opportunity to create infrastructure that is driven by innovation, and it must be all-inclusive. Improved awareness, which is a major one, which I'm also saying again, CeBIH must actively take on board what this vision means, who the stakeholders are, and how to make them happen. And the last bit is everyone working together to drive the actualization. So 3 main things within the collaboration. And I'm going to speak with benefit of history where we're coming from. And just like I asked when we started about how many persons are aware of the National Payment System vision, so it was clear there was 10%. You cannot grow an economy around what's invisible in the real sense. There just must be so much clarity what the National Payment System vision means and the implications for an economy like ours. And it must be across all stakeholder groups. Many people will probably remember when different policies started coming out to say, oh, this is the limit you can take at bank branches, cash. The problem was not with the policy, it was with the sensitization. People need to be able to see the benefits in things before they engage. Nobody wants to go on a journey of which they're unsure. And I remember in those early years, there were no parts of this country that we didn't go to as industry players, especially for some of us who were coming into the early space of payments. We were just in tech and stumbled into payments, but it was clear we had the opportunity to do things, big things in payments. And we had to take this on as part of our national drive as 100% Nigerian business. So this awareness is something that cannot be taken for granted. And I want to harp on this very strongly. Many of the things we think are frustrated, it's because they have just not been well socialized. And there's room for advocacy. All of the things we're talking about, National Payment System vision, most of it will not happen except the laws are changed. And I'm not aware of an active legislative advocacy platform that we have as an industry to ensure that these things are fully understood. But we seem to have formed and operate in some dissonance of they versus us. But I need to let you guys know that there's no way this will become a reality if some laws, new laws, are not made. For example, the central bank has been at the forefront of driving this. And it has taken the central bank itself to realize it cannot be the only one driving this. And in fact, for the central bank to be at the forefront of championing the bills, if you read the National Payment System vision, the primary driver should be outside the central bank. There's a National Payment System body that is the regulator of payment schemes, and there are just different parties. Until that law is passed, we may not be able to move much. So, Mr. Chairman, this is something I believe working with other stakeholders, we need to find a way. And this bill has been in the House for not less than 10 years, and it's still not been passed. We can say whatever the reasons are, but until it is passed, what we're calling the vision and the opportunities around it will be sub-optimized. And so we need to work on that, and that is where legislation and governance come in. We need to create those laws, we need to establish those institutions, and we need to manage and monitor the implementation. It should be an active engagement. It's a social contract of a national vision. And that therefore means there's not anyone who's in this room who can claim to not be a part of this. You need to be a patriotic soul investor in this. And part of what has been firmly established in driving the national payment system with its opportunities, it is clear that all stakeholders must benefit. So this is not one of those things that is patriotism without results. By virtue of actualizing the national payment system vision, everybody is going to benefit. If you go back to that vision, the economy is going to throttle and accelerate faster. Consumers are going to be able to do trade, anywhere, anyhow in the world, and the providers of services can only grow what they have. And that is why I believe despite everything we've done, we're just scratching the surface. There are many things we've produced and provided here that we're not able to take elsewhere, just because those 24 principles are not even visible to us. And it is only when those things are in place that we can then begin to talk about the exponential growth of our solutions and services. The needs we see here will be met in different ways. There will be less of friction. There will be more of collaboration. And if I'll share with you, the vision is that there's a level at which just must all cooperate. Without cooperating to build those things, there'll be nothing to compete. And this is an extra from the National Payment System vision. So many times we're killing ourselves on the upper part of that inverted funnel, where competition should happen, but we're not cooperating to build infrastructure on which we should be competing. So there's room for us to cooperate to build that infrastructure. If you think you want to compete at the infrastructure layer, then we'll not build anything, and there will not be anything to ride on. And that's why you should understand an inverted pyramid. The greatest opportunities are up there, but the most work to be done is below. Right? And this is an inversion of the typical iceberg. Iceberg, you have so much down and so little up. But in this case, the infrastructure is almost non-visible, but the opportunities are there. So you see the regulator there, and the structure that should drive it with payment infrastructure providers, and a lot of work needs to happen there. Standards need to be there, technology innovation needs to be there, funding, capacity building needs to be there, and then we can go and build different things. Amazing things that can come out of Nigeria. I'm talking about so this is one of the challenges we face because we don't even understand how we should together. But I'm happy also with the way the industry is growing, that many more things are beginning to happen there. And we talk about the legislation. These are the things I was talking about. Not many people are aware. The Payment System Management Bill, like I said, has been in the National Assembly for over 10 years. Many of the things we're talking about will not happen except we move this forward. And we just need to be committed to moving it forward. And like I said, thankfully so, to CeBIH for flying this kite, that 2030 is just another 5 years away. Would we come again to be describing the same things? I would like a situation that before this National Assembly expires in 2027 that we've achieved this. How we do it is going to be left to us. That is why we're stakeholders. There's also the electronic transaction bill for an act to facilitate the use of information in electronic form when conducting transactions in Nigeria and for connected purposes. It's not been passed. Many of the things that we're doing are building around this. Until this in itself is passed, we may not be able to go so far. And having talked about this, it's now what role do you have to play? Everyone is a stakeholder. This is a conversation about the big C, which is collaboration. If you're in this room, you must be able to see a fit. You cannot be an idle stakeholder, an idle investor in the Nigerian payment system vision. You must find a fit, no matter what the organization is doing. And this will therefore be to acknowledge and appreciate those who have invested effortlessly in ensuring that the vision can be realized over the years. They are the unsung heroes. Many of them, you not hear about them. You not even hear their names. The nature of engagements and things they've done, spend their own money to say that there is something about Nigeria that must happen, that can happen if we all come together. And these are the things other people see and make them want to invest in Nigeria. And we all know what that means. If people invest in an economy where you are not even aware of the framework to make it happen, you also know where the dividends of that will go. But there's something for everyone in here, for government, in terms of policies and accelerating legislation, which can only ride on the collaboration that we drive. For the private sector, the only I that's missing there, it says innovate and expand. You need to invest. And for citizens, we are the ones who take this to them. There's no way things will work that people will not take it on. And that is the opportunity we have. As a round off, what are we going away with? One,
is that this should be of significant national importance to everybody. It should be active in the domain of all stakeholders. The second thing, all stakeholders must be on board. The success, ultimately, with the investments, with the infrastructure, with the policies, it should be about impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. My, oh my. Ladies and gentlemen, please can you put your hands together one more time for Mr. Doremi Atonda, CEO